Welcome to the 100% Space Exposure Challenge Episode 3. I've barely survived the initial suffocation crisis in the first episode and managed to find a way to collect water. My goal is to complete Great Escape before Cycle 100. But now that the imminent oxygen and water issue are solved, we are now dangerously low on food. We have to start producing food now. We have researched drywall and basic farming in the last episode, so we can at least start planting mealwood. Unfortunately, mealwood only needs dirt to grow, and dirt is a solid, so it is not affected by space exposure. But first, we have to complete the drywall construction to maintain some air pressure to grow the plants. There is some comments in the previous episode that suggest using pea water for liquid lug to contain the gas. That would be a nice idea. I guess I'm just not super used to do liquid lugs in my regular colonies, unless it's really necessary. And using only doors still work for now, so I'll just let it stay like this. We have about enough food for 3 cycles, and the dupes should still have calories in their own stomachs. Mealwood could also be harvested in 3 cycles, so we should be in time to eat our first batch of meal lice before starving. One mealwood provides 200 kilocalories per cycle, so we at least need 15 mealwoods to feed 3 dupes. They all have higher job priorities other than farming, so they are not really seeding the mealwood for now. I might have to adjust some priorities later. This room is actually not really a good place for planting, but I was kind of focused to plant food as fast as possible, so I did not think much about it. Now I can expect food income, so it might be the time to take a 4th dupe. I don't want to lag behind too much in progress. Stinky with trypophobia is definitely no. Catalina might be good, but I would take Lyra with food morale bonus. I am adjusting some dupes to have higher farming priority, but maybe I should have done it earlier. I guess I might still have to dig more mug roots to not starve before the first mealwood harvest. Dry walls can be built fast, but when you have to build so many when creating a new room, it still takes a considerable amount of time. So I should really make good use of each room that I have. I definitely cannot afford to build dry walls on every tile in the planet. At some point, I might have to start using oxygen masks instead of extending my dry walls wherever I want to expand. Now I'm sort of remodeling the room entrance to not have too many dead ends. Since we have drywall research, I will cover the cool steam vent with drywall and seal it, so we can collect even more water from the vent. My dupes are scalding by the cool steam vent. That at least means we did contain the steam pretty well. If it was full vacuum, there would be nothing to exchange heat, and they're not gonna scald. manual airlock opening time can be a bit slow, so I'm replacing with mechanical airlock. Maybe I can use liquid lock later, but inside my base, I don't want them to have soggy feet for now. I plan to start using cold generator soon, and it will probably run for quite a few cycles. So I will research smart battery and automation this time. The algae and food stockpile is a bit low, so I have to dig some more on the lift now. But first, I will open up a closer entrance to reduce the time they have to stay in vacuum. Uh-oh, they dig a big hole and then went to downtime. I will force them finish sealing it back right now. Digging inside vacuum takes a lot of time running back and forth. And for every tile I dig, I have to build a dry wall if I want to make this a room in the future. So I am adjusting the digging route to not make them dig unnecessary tiles. I want them to focus on algae and the tiles with a cracked sign, which could have mud roots. And on the other hand, I want to prevent digging tiles that will make the sand on top collapse. So, here is the teleporter. You might think having the teleporter enabled is easy mode. But what if I tell you, in this challenge, using the teleporter is much harder and riskier than using a rocket to land in the teleporter planet? If we think about it, teleporter planet is also 100% space exposure, and it doesn't even start with oxalite. What would be your plan to start developing the teleporter planet? Let me know in the comments below. Back to the game. Now I can finally start taking care of the morale issue. There's so many doors built in the first few cycles, and I'll replace some and make a mess hole for my dupes. Cycle 15 mess hole. Alright, Not super behind, I guess. Oh wait, the mess hall has a minimum space requirement of 12 tiles. I will have to enlarge it a little bit. A fifth dupe might be too early for now, so not this time. If I were to use the teleporter, I would almost certainly have to activate the teleporter suppliers too. So I will need a field research duplicate. Now researching basic automation for call generator and smart battery. wall of doors on the left look like a good place to transition into a barracks room. We are almost functioning like a regular starting colony now. Maybe just a few lavatories and sinks away. Yep, every single time. In downtime, we start 10 seconds before they finish all the dry walls. We need to call them back again. So, the water collection plan in this colony works out pretty good. In the previous episodes, there are a lot of comments discussing how to get water. Depending on your planet start, some of them would work and some would not. I'll summarize all the ideas here. Number 1. Produce polluted water and use a water sieve. This unfortunately does not work, because the water sieve requires advanced research, and that means it needs water to research water sieve. You will end up being stuck in a loop. Number 2. Produce polluted water and boil it. This might work depending on your planet start or DLC. It will likely be painful though, as the polluted water production probably won't be that fast. And then we have melt ice into water. That will work if your planet has ice, and especially if you have frosty planet pack to melt the ice with wood. Number 4. Use sludge press to convert mud into water. This would work if your planet has mud. Number 5. Find water geysers to collect water. This does not work because the space exposure is sucking out liquid way too fast. And last, use steam geysers to collect water. This works as I'm showing in the video. Or maybe clean water with your cleaning pot. If you enable care package, it's not enabled in this challenge though, by the way. Alright, now we actually have cold generator and spark battery built. Not too bad. Now I'm planning to make Atmos suits, and the only reed fiber source in Desolate is from Dracos, so I'll need some wrenching research. I personally don't use Atmos suits that often, but for this challenge, I guess I'll still need one or two suits, at least for the teleporter planet setup. It is kind of dangerous for the dudes to build in this pattern. If they ended up building these tiles to last while standing on the bottom, they have a chance to entomb themselves. It is better if we make sure there is either no room or at least two tiles of room below. So, that was the mistake I mentioned earlier to plant meal wood in this room. Because I'm collecting hot water from the cool steam vent on the top. So the hot water has heated the room below, and now it's too hot for the meal wood to grow. Of course, it will be relatively easy to make an insulation in this challenge, because we have free vacuum after all. I'll just move some meal wood away and plant them in other spots instead of insulating and cooling the room back. That would be one of the advantages of using planter box instead of farm tiles, as they can be built very quickly. As I mentioned earlier, using the teleporter would be much harder than using a rocket in this challenge. because the teleporter planet is basically another 100% space exposure, and even without starting Oxalite. But since we are doing a challenge, it would be fun to take the hard way, right? So we will be using the teleporter in the next episode. Please subscribe and the dupes will love you.